The movie did not have a strong narrative thread, and that's why it didn't have soul. Like, it had a concept, but it was so frustrating because they were so close so many times, but they just, for whatever reason, didn't carry it through or couldn't resist telling the joke. Because the whole narrative thread, it's a very easy one. A bunch of guys who don't have it anymore realize that if they cheat, they can. So they essentially took the plot of the Benchwarmers, made some changes.
Yeah, but the thing is, Jeremy Boring's character really pushed them all into it. Like, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have done that. Yeah. So if you really want to get down to it, like, I know they kind of made him out to be the victor at the end, really, kind of ish. But if you want to get down to it, he was technically a villain because he was getting them to do something they didn't really want to do.
I was thinking about that, and really, like, it was a very atypical, I'm not going to say interesting, but it was a very atypical character arc that the team went through, because normally you either have a positive or negative character arc, but they actually go negative and then go positive. Yeah. So they do like a whole, because they are very much the bad guys in the beginning.
Well, actually, hold on. I have to recant, because Jeremy Boring didn't do that on purpose. The lady thought that she had misgendered the main guy. I don't know.
Well, that's the beginning of their negative character.
I know,
arc.
but then Jeremy's character led on with it.
Yeah.
So,
which that bit was kind of funny. It took him a little bit too long to get there, and they also didn't explain why he was still wearing his wig. It would have. This is so nitpicky,
dude,
but
I was laughing my ass off.
I was laughing, but why are you wearing it? All they would have had to do. It's like, and people tore me up in the comment section for this when I said. I put a short up of us talking about the black suit in Zack Snyder's Justice League movie.
Yeah.
The Superman black suit. And I was like...
people were getting shitty.
It's like, all I'm saying is that I get that comic book nerds know what that suit is about. The
black suit makes him more powerful, so...
And it would have taken not even a second of off-screen dialogue, which they already had going on, to say... this suit will help heal you, Kal-El.
Hold on. My brain just shot. Yeah. Anyway, my brain just exploded. Zod was wearing the black suit in the first. Spider-Man movie, and in the first Superman
I think
movie.
he was
wearing the black suit.
He was, wasn't he? See, there you go.
Huh. Because don't they also?
This is the same.
Radiation is.
It helps absorb more.
Helps absorb more radiation.
Yeah. So this is the same suit. This is the same suit. No, this is the same suit that Zod was wearing in your first battle. It absorbs more solar radiation and will help you heal faster.
He was also banging B-Rabbit's mom. Baby, I finally won bingo.
Oh, Greg Buell. Y'all got a cigarette?
Dude, that like literally, I didn't know he was in so much other stuff, and I only knew of him from that movie. And then when somebody said he was Zod, I was like, huh?
I kind of said the same thing.
The trailer park dude from 8 Mile? Yep. And then I found out he's in like a ton of shit, and I was like, oh, okay.
He's kind of like Steve Buscemi in that regard, because Steve Buscemi's in so much.
Yeah, but Steve Buscemi's funny as shit.
So is that guy who's I know his name. Oh yeah, he's fucking hilarious.
Buell?
Yeah. Oh, he's funny as fuck.
Wait. That's his name.
The actor. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know his actor name.
I know it. I'm just blanking on it. But
wow, I didn't.
Oh yeah, he's funnier than hell. A lot of those, I'm not going to say they're character actors, but you see them often. Well, it's kind of like John C. Reilly. He's in a lot, but you don't click it's him until.
I didn't know he was in What's Eating Gilbert Grape for the longest time. I was like, and then I saw him, and I was like, Dale Doback. Okay. If he had boats and hoes, then old boy wouldn't have almost drowned. Gilbert! Almost down, Gilbert! I don't care what anyone says. Leonardo DiCaprio deserved a freaking award for that movie.
He really did, because you believe it. But I was being nitpicky about the wig. So all he would have had to do was been running late. And it's like, there you are. Where have you been? He was like, sorry, I had a double that ran long, blah, 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 blah. He's like, I was just able to get out of my...
There's no explanation.
There wasn't.
Because you're not just going to wear it for no reason.
And then he's just like, take that thing off. He's like, I can't. It takes too long, blah, blah, blah. He's like, fine, whatever. All that would have taken, and then it would have been legitimately funny because you get the visual gag, but it also makes sense in the story. It's not just a guy randomly showing up in a wig.
Yeah, because at first we're like, huh? Like, why?
Well, that was the thing I noticed. I'm like, are they going to explain this? Because I saw what was coming. It was going to make sense.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, did they not have like one analytical mind watch the preview before they sent this movie out?
Well,
like,
again,
hey, why didn't you explain this? Why didn't you explain this?
Who wrote the script? That's what I got to know. Who wrote the script?
I think it was Jeremy Boring, wasn't it?
Well, if he did, that's the problem. Written by Jeremy Boring, Brian A. Hoffman, whose writing credits include Deep in the Heart, 2012, Corked in 2009, so it doesn't have a ton of credits, and then Nick Sheehan, whose only writing credit is Ladyballers. So we don't have writers with a lot of experience, and it shows because there's a lot of.
I have no experience when it comes to writing, but I would see that from a mile away.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what which actually works in their favor, because if they had experienced writers, I would have been like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, You're better than this. But, for his first outing, not terrible. I don't know how much he had to do with it. My guess is the more experienced writer probably laid out the bones of the script and then they added jokes. But I'd say this movie was like 80% there from being really, really good. It felt incomplete. It was so close to being there
because it was missing a main focal point.
Exactly. It didn't have.
There kind of was one, but there kind of wasn't.
It didn't have a main narrative thread that would have fleshed everything out.
Like, it starts out with what? The daughter being shot.
Yeah, no.
That's how the movie starts.
The inciting incident makes perfect sense narratively. You got a coach who's used to being a winner. He's down on his luck, divorced, picks up his daughter from school. And then, that whole conversation up to that point makes perfect sense. And then as the movie goes, it starts to make less and less sense as it goes on. And then another nitpick here. Montages are to show the passage of time. There are places where montages would have been better instead of separate scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Such as finding the team. That took way too long. Like, you really just needed to roll up to the used car place.
And the Badger guy wasn't really that funny of a scene to me.
It wasn't. And the thing of it is,
it was just kind of confusing.
They had like a PTSD thing happening, which made no sense, made him look like a moron and not like a funny moron. Like, what's this guy's problem? Because the whole inciting incident for his PTSD, which he only has for 2 scenes.
Dude, I felt so bad for the Badger dude in the Badger suit in his face paint. I was like, he was crying. I was like, I'm not even able to laugh at this. I feel bad for that guy.
Well, and then one of my biggest pet peeves in comedies is when they establish a character trait, it lasts for a scene or two, and then it's gone, completely gone. Especially since this was integral to this guy's character when we meet him. There's a reason he lives in the woods and kills badgers for sport. It's a stupid reason.
He's insane.
Well, that's just it. But he ends up being he's the first character to start thinking that maybe what they're doing is wrong. So he's an insane character that acts the most sane.
This whole badger murder thing is a weird tangent.
And then they also don't really do anything with the bit where the two twin brothers that have the same mom, different dads.
They were kind of annoying. Oh, they were, what do they call them?
I don't know.
Type of twin. Basically,
I think it's bullshit.
Same mom, they're fathered by 2 different dads, which is possible. It's gross, but it's possible. So it's like, let me see.
I don't remember, but regardless.
Fraternal?
No, there was a whole.
It's some type of.
They explained it, which I think that if that had been played differently, it would have been funnier. But the way it panned out, I don't think it was necessary. They could have just been brothers. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
But then the whole bit with them both knocking up the same girl, which again,
the exact same way they were born.
The joke. That's another example. The joke is funny on its own merit, but in the context of the movie, nothing ever really happens with it except for the bit where they propose to the same girl.
I think it was just meant for comedy. That was it.
But and I get that. That's not the kind of joke that's just an aside joke, though.
The more I think about it, I don't think they were going for like the movie to be a blockbuster comedy
No,
hit.
no, no, no.
I think they were literally just poking fun at everything else, and they want to do it in the most obvious, like, shitty way.
There were, and there are, and this might be a personal preference for me. That kind of comedy does have a place, but it doesn't hold a candle to.
It fell flat.
That's just it. It doesn't hold a candle because, like, take Superbad. Take Superbad for example. Superbad is a great example of a movie where it's definitely about the jokes, but there's still a narrative thread and character arcs that happen in the movie. Progression. Yeah, there's a reason all this funny stuff is happening, and it makes sense.
Oh my gosh, dude! Don't even get me started on that movie.
Well, but again, that's a well-written, raunchy comedy.
It was fantastic.
Even, as much grief as this movie gets, and there are certain elements that are not narratively great, American Pie still has a narrative thread. There's an inciting incident. They take a course of action that makes sense based on what happens in the movie, and then there's a resolution in the end that is often not what you think it's going to be, certainly not what the characters think it's going to be. And it would have actually been very easy for this movie, and I was hopeful that this movie could have done the same way, because it's so obvious, because anyone with half a brain sees that what these guys are doing is wrong. The movie is about them realizing it. But they don't really ever do that.
I don't know. It just, like, the premise of the movie was stupid. But I watched it because, because it was making fun of that movement and per se, be like, oh yeah, so men, play in this sport now and they're dominating everybody. It's like, do we not see that?